Insurance.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Tawanda. Good evening,
Tawanda's on early.
Dr. Larry. How are you? Good evening to you.
Hey, I will tell you all, it is good to be back. It seems like I've been away for quite some time.
You've been truly missed.
And it's great to be back. I want to say thank you all to you all that have waited out, that decided to join me today.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I hope we can have facilitate a great discussion, both in the chat as well as, over the airwaves. I want to say thanks a lot for all the support you've given and the patience.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of traveling, but while I've been traveling, I've actually got a bunch of exciting topics from people I've spoken to.
Okay.
People that have contacted me, both on the phone, people that have contacted me via social media.
Yeah.
Different topics that they want to discuss and different things that may that's related to what we have going on now, like in our society, in our lives, things that are impacting us, and will generate a good discussion for all of us. And I hope that we can do that.
Definitely.
Today we'll kind of roll into it. We're going to talk about, as the title said, we're going to talk about grace and mercy. This is something that's really important because a lot of us, we talk about grace, we talk about mercy, we talk about how, we talk about it from a religious standpoint. We talk about it from, but we don't really talk about it from a personal standpoint.
Yeah.
As how we
So as if it can only happen in the religious and the spiritual aspect of it.
Yeah, is it
forgetting
grace,
about
grace and mercy can only exist in in the spiritual realm or from the higher power, etc. But it's not. We're gonna as I always do, we're gonna go into like a little bit of definitions here, right? So grace is defined as a free and unmerited favor of God.
Yeah.
Right. But we also know that we can give favor to others as well.
Yeah.
Right. It says manifested in the salvation of sinners and the granting of blessings.
True.
Right. Now again, we can be blessings to others as well. So we just need to let's try to keep that in the perspective. In addition to that, where we can go, I won't say beyond, but in conjunction with the higher power that we serve.
Yeah.
Mercy as it goes in hand with grace. You talk about its compassion. It's compassion of forgiveness, right? It's compassion of forgiveness is shown towards someone whom is within one's power to punish or to harm. So if you have the ability over someone, whether you're a parent over a child, whether you are a supervisor over an employee, whether you are someone in a higher position, and you have those that are junior to you, or that are, I don't really like to use the word subordinate, but people who are in lesser positions than you are, say either it's on a social scale, on a corporate scale, on an employment scale, economic scale, etc., where you may have the ability to impact or influence or project power over another person. How are we as far as giving mercy to those around us, or I'd like to know what you all's opinions are. And the number is 321-216-6279. Have we in fact become a merciless society? Mm-hmm. How do we view our society right now? Mm-hmm. Are we merciless? And if we are, mm-hmm. how do we get this back and interject mercy into our society?
Very good.
But go ahead.
And I've got a much shorter definitions that my preacher used to just summarize it like this for us. Grace is getting what you deserve. And then mercy is getting what you do not deserve. So that's Mm-hmm.
But now as we delve into that, mm-hmm. and we delve into that, we take this from a religious
point of view
standpoint like that. Okay, then we go to church.
Yeah.
In an effort to get grace,
mm-hmm.
right? It tells us in the Word that we are all undeserving because all of us are going to fall short, right, of the grace of God, because that is undeserved favor, mm-hmm. right? However, we do things such as worship, mm-hmm. such as pray, mm-hmm. such as try to live our lives as best we can with the tools we are given to make the best impact that we possibly can, right? On others and on ourselves, in an effort to get grace, knowing still that we may yet be unworthy. Mm-hmm. But yet, with that being said,
mm-hmm.
How are we at giving grace
mm-hmm.
to other people? How forgiving are we at those who have done us wrong? How forgiving are we? Are we towards other people?
Yeah.
Also, how merciful are we? If someone does us wrong, mm-hmm. how merciful are we to where we would actually perhaps
even though the person deserves to be either beaten or to get back at for what they did wrong to you, and then you choose not to.
Yes, because as we talk about an eye for an eye, you do something to me,
mm-hmm.
I do something back to you.
Yeah.
Because as the saying goes, hurt people hurt people.
Yeah, definitely.
But if you're hurt, the power comes in showing grace, right, to the next person, and not always having to impose or influence that power onto someone else. So how are we, as far as humans, because we're spirits having a human experience.
Mm-hmm.
So now, if we're having that human experience, part of having that human experience is being able to negotiate these things and have grace. Now we expect grace,
mm-hmm.
but let's be real. Many of us, the only grace that we're going to give is on the turkey on Thanksgiving Day. That's the only grace we're giving, because we're not giving grace to one another.
Yeah.
And I want to know, why? And what are some of you?
And then while we tend not to really accord grace to one another, and a lot of us, we really need we need more grace.
Yes.
Than we give.
We need.
We tend to give more grace than we're giving to others.
We tend to want more grace
than
we are
mm-hmm.
willing to give to others.
Yeah,
it says here,
correct. Yeah.
It says here the word teaches us to forgive, but do we?
Do we really forgive?
But do we really forgive?
Or do we forgive when it makes sense to us?
Yeah,
when it feels good.
At convenience.
It's convenient.
Do we conveniently forgive, or do we actually outright forgive?
Because one thing that I was thinking just the other day, us human beings, Dr. Larry, it's like we tend to really rationalize when it makes sense to
mm-hmm.
us.
Yeah, exactly.
When it convenience to us.
Yes, when someone puts you in a situation,
we can justify anything. Oh my, yeah. Okay. Oh my God!
And
yeah, I wonder. I need the number.
The number to call in. The number to call in if you would like to join this discussion. 216-216-6279.
Yeah.
And grace
Yeah.
Again, grace and mercy go hand in hand. Now, when
they sure do.
Now we do get grace. All of us at some point have experienced mercy. Where we may have
our
done
parents,
something.
our parents, they show us mercy all the time.
We show our kids mercy. Our parents show us mercy.
You deserve a beating.
Yeah. Sometimes, and many of us, because of things that we've done, we've been granted mercy simply because we're here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We've been granted mercy. Some of our jobs, things like that, we may have made a mistake or something, and someone may have said, you know what, I really could be doing this. You really should be getting this type of punishment. However, I'm going to give you another chance. So now, with that being said, we all know people who are given this mercy and they abuse it.
They abuse it, correct?
And as we talk about the word, we know that we've been given mercy from the higher power. Then what do we do with that?
Well, we have a caller, Dr. Larry.
Yes, you're on the line with Dr. Larry and the prestigious,
honorable, the most revered Dr. Larry.
Yes, who we have on the line?
Hello, caller.
Hello.
Can you hear us?
Hello.
Yes.
That's the one.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
This is Tawanda.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
I really was going to stay quiet today. I was just going to lay back.
Come on now.
This is too much for you.
Come on now.
I was going to lay back and just listen.
Yeah.
But see, my brother had me to call. I just had to say something about the turkey dinner. The only grace is going to be done with
the turkey.
Say grace is going to be only for Thanksgiving. Now you know you're wrong.
But think about it. We're gonna say grace about that turkey dinner, sitting there around the table with people we know that we can't forgive for something that they did to us.
Yeah, correct.
But you know what though? It's sad. It's so sad. But you're probably right.
Yeah.
Probably right 70% of the time. That's when people really come together as a family. It's to sit down at that particular time. It's to pray.
Yeah.
And that hurt me. I just had to call.
Some of us gonna have fights on Thanksgiving Day.
True.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Grace. I mean, we have to. I mean, for me, we have to forgive.
Yeah.
We have to forgive. I mean, if we so-called love this God that we all talk about, he tells us that we have to forgive.
Yeah.
In order to, keep going on, in order to love him, we have to forgive. And it's hard to, to love somebody that we can't even see.
True.
But we need to, that's grace and mercy. We need to act on that.
But how do we forgive? Okay, we all know that, and as the saying goes, forgiveness is for you to heal, not necessarily for the other person. Right?
Larry, you need to speak up just a little bit. I can't really hear you.
Okay. We all know that the saying is, we forgive for ourselves, not to better ourselves, not for the other person, right? But there are some people. How do you forgive someone that may have done something that you believe is just utterly unforgivable? And now I don't mean forgive them in the sense that you just don't associate with them. I mean forgive a person and
something really bad.
Yeah, they may have done something that is unforgivable to you. You know what I'm saying? Because there are some people that believe, and there was a time when I believed, some forgiveness, that's God's job. You know what I'm saying? I mean, to be honest, there are some things in the before I become more, more matured, and things like that. It's like, look, the forgiveness is on the Lord. He can handle that because I am not forgiving what you did. Even though, yes, we know the word says, "Forgive us our trespasses."
You'll smack that person before you.
Yes.
Let me try
you know what I'm saying?
Let me try to explain this to you. I'm going to try my best so the words can come out right.
Okay.
Because I just went through an experience this last few weeks. And for one, let me just put this in. For one, if you're a Christian, if you're saved, you have to forgive. Yeah. You could be weak, you could be upset for maybe a day or two, but you gonna come back to your senses and say, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I can't be mad or blah blah blah. But anyway, I got this person I got into a heated debate,
Mm-hmm.
and I love this person so much, a family member.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to myself, oh, that's it. I am not going to talk to this family member never again. And I don't care. You remember a few months back we had a conversation
Yes.
about
Yes.
what was it about? If we can, if it was like a personal thing that
Yes.
like,
I think I know what you're
what
talking
was
about.
it?
Is it when you were
Right.
talking about?
If I had a problem or forget it or stop talking to a person, blah blah
Yeah.
blah.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, I'm just not gonna talk to you no more.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine said, well, can you actually say you can stop talking to this person, Tawanda? I said, I don't have no problems I don't have no problems not talking to this person again. Now then what happened? This person of mine, this close person of mine went into the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the first person that person called.
Yeah.
I'm going to see her tomorrow.
Correct.
Okay. So it's not,
No delivery fees on farm fresh
I
salads.
couldn't stay long. I couldn't stay mad that
Mhm.
long. As soon as I heard that she was in danger or in trouble, I'm there. So I couldn't stay long, mad, Larry, long. I mean, and
Yeah.
she did something real bad to me. Hurt my feelings to the core.
Yeah.
To the core. But I do have to say, if I wasn't saved, yeah, I'll probably still be mad. Want me going up to the hospital tomorrow?
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about this
If you
then.
can understand that.
Oh yeah, but let's talk about this though. Okay, if you weren't saved, you definitely you would take a different approach. But let's say, let's talk about the people in the church.
Yeah.
I was going to avoid that, but let's talk about that. Let's talk about people in the church. They talk about forgiveness, and yet
Talking about forgive.
they forgive on Sunday.
Yeah.
For those few hours,
Mhm.
and they preach forgiveness, they talk forgiveness and all this stuff, and come Monday morning, they right back to that same. You know what I'm saying?
True.
They're right back
Yeah.
into that same thing. And so, how much do we actually give? But we go to church in search of forgiveness, because when the time comes, we meet our Maker. We want to be forgiven for the things we've done. We want to be forgiven for the things we've done. But many of us, we're not willing to grant that same forgiveness, when in fact the word says, "What you do to everyone else, you're in fact doing to me." You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I'm having a terrible time hearing you.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can't, but it's like really muffled.
Okay, wait a
I
minute.
don't know
Let me. Not sure why. Can you hear me now? Are you able to hear me?
I can. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear now?
All right. You can hear me better now?
Oh yes.
Okay. All right. Very good.
Woo.
Yeah, I can hear you.
You okay right now?
Headphones down. Hold on. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
What I'm talking about is how when we're on the subject of forgiveness, we have people that they go to church. We go to church. And
Okay.
we go to church seeking forgiveness. We talk forgiveness when we're in church, and we're all team forgiveness for those few hours that we're in there. But then we don't carry that in our heart when we leave. And we're not willing to give that same forgiveness, because when we go out to when the time comes where we have to meet our Maker, our Creator, we are expecting well, not expecting. Well, actually, yes. Some actually expect forgiveness, when in fact we go there, we're actually seeking mercy. We're seeking mercy. We're seeking forgiveness.
From who? You're seeking
for our Creator when our time comes.
Who are you seeking mercy from, though?
You're seeking mercy from God.
Okay. You said okay.
Yeah,
all right.
You're seeking mercy from God, but we're not willing to give
mercy to the
mercy
others,
to our fellow man, fellow woman here on earth. But yet we have the audacity to seek forgiveness that we're not willing to actually give ourselves.
Oh, trust me, believe it or not, even before we even make it to heaven, it's already decided when we pass away, and either you're going to heaven, you're going to hell. It's already decided where we're going to be at. So when you're going to heaven, if your name, it's in the book. If your name is not even written on the book, it's too late for you even to ask God for forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
He don't want to hear it. Either he's going to say, "Well done, my faithful servant," or not. You cannot wait to get to heaven to ask for forgiveness or for mercy.
But
you can't. I'm just not saying that. It's in the Bible.
But then we all know that we live our lives. We live our lives. We do certain things, and we live our lives a certain way in hope of grace, because the Bible also says even the greatest of us is going to fall short.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, this for real.
And because mercy, grace, it's undeserved favor, because none of us are deserving of it at all. None of us are deserving of favor.
No, we're not.
But yet, many of us who go to church, we not only feel deserving, we feel entitled.
But okay. But say it's a person, say, just thinking, a young guy just happened to, he's sick, and he knows he's about to pass away, and he hasn't been in the church or hasn't been raised in the church. Right there and then, if he asks God for grace and mercy to be forgiven, he's been forgiven, so he will go to heaven. You know what I mean? So you don't have to spend your whole life in church just to receive this precious gift right here. You don't have to be in church all your life.
That's true.
To receive that promise.
That's true. But now,
for grace and mercy and for salvation. And that's another thing, salvation.
Oh yeah.
You do not have to. Because the pastor could give you the last rites. You don't have to be in church.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
But grace and mercy, man, I mean, it's what a gift.
It's awesome,
yeah. It's a gift.
What a gift for grace to, not even ask for it. We don't even deserve it.
And that's the point. It's undeserved grace.
Yeah.
But do we show gratitude for that grace? And if so, how do we do that? Hold on a second. Jean-Claude, what you got?
Well, going back to forgiveness. Can you hear me, Tawanda?
I'm sorry, guys. I don't know, but really bad connection this week.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Can you hear him?
I can hear you a little bit. It's probably better for me to hang up and then type in the answers. Mm-hmm. Should I do that?
Whoa.
Hold on a second. Let's try to get this.
What about now? Can you hear me? It is still muffled.
It's very muffled.
Whoa. Yeah, she can.
Now.
Can you hear me now? You can hear me now. Okay.
All right.
How can we forgive others if we can even forgive ourselves? I mean, so many times, and the Lord has already stated quite clearly, we are forgiven. We are forgiven, but a lot of us, we tend to not accept the fact that the Lord is clear when He stated that we are forgiven by the blood of the Lamb.
Yeah,
so Jesus died.
But then
why is it hard for us to accept it, be able to enjoy it, and then at the same token, show forgiveness.
So now, are we able to? And what do you think about this? Do you think that part of the reason that people aren't able
To
to
forgive,
forgive each other is because
they don't forgive
sometimes we're not
themselves.
able to forgive ourselves.
Yeah.
Because as we sit back and we look
Yeah.
at some of the things that we have done,
Yeah.
and because we feel so undeserving of this grace
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
of this mercy,
Yeah.
then we can't see granting that to somebody else.
Yeah. Of course, if you regurgitate it times and over again, and then even in us, sometimes it create that root of bitterness, where we even become bitter because we can accept the fact that God granted us mercy, and then it's a done deal. We just have to sleep on it and live on it, and then by so doing, you can express it, you can show it, regardless what may come our way, regardless what others may do to us, and then we still live because it's a way of life, it's a lifestyle.
And forgiveness. I get. Forgiveness can arguably be a lifestyle. What is your thought? What are your thoughts on that? If anybody else has any thoughts, also the number is 321-216-6279. What are your thoughts, Tawanda?
Tawanda, can you hear us? Well, unfortunately, she's gone, Dr. Larry.
Because what my question, what I like to, well, actually, you know what? Let's go and go to a break,
Okay.
and then I'm going to come back.
Very good.
But the number is 321-216-6279.
Okay.
This broadcast is brought to you by First Class Insurance.
We back, Dr. Larry. We lost Tawanda.
Okay, yeah. Tawanda, sorry we lost you. I guess we had a little bad connection going here. Hopefully we got this thing kind of reconciled here, got it fixed. Anybody else wants to call in? 321-216-6279. How do we say we grant mercy, we grant grace to others, to those around us, right? But then it gets repeatedly abused, right? People think that sometimes as we give mercy, us giving mercy is a sign of weakness. In fact, social media, there's been incidents where people have been granted mercy and they've been drug across social media for being generous or to someone else, being showing grace to someone else, and been bashed, saying, you know what, this person's undeserving of this. This person should be doing this, should be doing that. Which, how much is social media contributing to us becoming somewhat of a merciless society? And to what degree of mercy? And
then this is why, and you bring a wonderful point here, Dr. Larry, because and then there is also what's called the psychological motivation that makes people believe that you will get exploited if you're weak.
Yes,
because you will get exploited by showing forgiveness to others. Consequently, that makes you a weak person.
Yes. Well, they take
and then
kindness for
people
weakness.
Now what they're trying to do is just to avoid the exploiter. By avoiding the exploiter, so they say to themselves, I ain't gonna forgive you because I know if I do, you will exploit me. You will get over. You just abuse me.
Yeah.
You misuse me.
Or we let the opinions of others affect that,
and
because we feel if we do this, and we forgive you, or we give you this mercy, then other people are going to interpret that
as a sign of weakness,
and then we'll get used by everybody. So how do we do that? Because we know that we all want grace, we all want mercy, we all want that, but how do we negotiate that? How do we deal with that?
And then I remember this really powerful saying. It's a nice, it's a very profound and prolific phrase, say by one of these preachers. I don't know if it's a cliche or if it is like some sort of proverb, because forgiveness, it's like unforgiveness creates what's called a root of bitterness. And then once you unforgiving, it creates rancor, a lot of this root of bitterness in you. Consequently, it's like you drinking poison and expect the other person to die.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Holding bitterness, holding
grudges,
holding grudges, things like that, is drinking poison, expecting the other person to die. But so are you infecting yourself?
Yeah, you sure
by not forgiving.
You sure
someone
because
else.
this can be very toxic. To be unforgiving, because it's really sweet, peaceful, nice, and tranquil. You feel that tranquility inside of you. And then you believe it or not, Dr. Larry, I may have other problems, but unforgiving is not one of them. I can easily forgive somebody.
Now,
I've got no reason to really feel bitter about anything because I feel like I've been granted so much by God, and to whom much is given, much is required.
Absolutely.
So if I feel like that, I can take it. I'm built for it.
But now it's easy for us to forgive someone that we not, because we let's not confuse sometimes.
I've got a call here on this private phone. I don't know if
Superman, if they want to
so you want me to try that to
sure,
see whether this is okay? Hang on just a second. Caller, good afternoon. How are you?
Hello.
Can you hear us? Hello, caller.
Hello, can you hear us?
Hello.
Well, okay. Well, what I was going to say is, let not confuse. Say like forgiveness. We're not necessarily employing the act of forgiveness if we are avoiding. Forgiveness and avoidance. For example, it's easy to say, I forgive this person, and just not deal with them for the next X number of years or whatever, right? Versus forgiving someone who has done you wrong that you must interface with on a regular basis. So how do you negotiate that? How do you deal with that? Now, let's see. Put here in the chat, but if you're doing it from your heart, why worry what others think? Compassion and kindness comes from within. Holding that stuff inside will make you sick. And that's true. Holding things inside will make you sick.
Definitely.
But then, how do we? But some people believe that it makes them feel better.
Yeah.
Whether true or not.
They're bigger. They're bigger.
Yeah.
But can you believe? Can you believe the resentment inside the heart of that person? Because it takes a lot of energy to really absorb all these things inside of you, and they're toxic. And then here the person is swirling, the person is on fire. You can see flames. You can see that person's nostrils, and then that person is spitting fire.
But how many times?
It is showing what's inside.
How many times we've seen people? How many times we've seen people that just they'll cuss you out and say, "I don't care about you."
Yeah, oh yeah, they mean it.
Yeah, they
cuss you out.
They don't care about you. They haven't forgiven you, but they've just let it go.
Yeah,
it just dissociated with. So there's a difference because this person has forgiven.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. But yet, this is the same person that it will in turn want forgiveness or feels an entitlement for forgiveness from other people.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So people who do things like that, yes, these are toxic people. These people are those that can become entitled. Feel they're entitled and things like that. So we just need to know how to do it. Now, what do we need to do? Because really, as we've said, forgiveness is an individual responsibility, right? It's an individual responsibility. You can go to someone and say, you know what, I forgive you for what you did to me, this and that. Okay, great, but I don't forgive you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to be, but that's an individual thing. So once you forgive, and you let this thing go, then you kind of release yourself to move on.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
True.
So you don't carry that with. If you give your forgiveness and this person does not forgive you, well, you have to be willing to disassociate from that.
Yeah, you have to.
Hey, you know what? I've done my part.
Yeah.
I've done forgiveness, and
then believe it or not, some people there's really nothing you can do.
Yeah. Now we have the saying.
There's really nothing you can do.
It says forgive and forget.
Yeah.
Right. So now, if you don't forget what this person truly did to you, because sometimes when we think about things that people have done to us, right, we start to get these feelings all over again. These feelings of resentment, these feelings of anger all over again.
But Dr. Larry, the beauty of it, the excellency of it, the awesomeness of it is the fact that you can still remember what the person do to you. You can't forget. How can you forget what somebody? I mean, how can you do that? How can you shrug it off? How can you put that on the rug? You remember, and you still manifest. You still act accordingly, civilly. I forgive you, regardless of. Joseph did not forget what his brothers they did to him. It's not that Christ forget what they did to him, how they crucified him. But then again,
you in spite of yourself. You're forgiven in spite of yourself. So you forgive these people in spite of themselves.
Yeah.
Here the question is, what do you do when the person doesn't say anything and goes on like nothing happened? That's an example of what I was saying. Entitlement. Some people that's where it goes over into the realm of being toxic because people believe. Some people believe that nothing that they do is wrong.
Yeah, you're right.
Some people believe that nothing.
And then these very people, they're the one that will condemn you once you just lift a little finger.
Yes.
You're not allowed to say anything.
Yeah.
So they will judge you by anything that comes, whether good.
Yes.
Even if it's good, they'll find a way to say that it's wrong just because. Yes. That's who they are.
Because there are some people that when we're in these settings,
and
anyone wants to contribute, the phone number is 321.
Oh my God, this is too good.
321-216-6279. please feel free to call in. I would love to hear what you all have to say.
Yeah.
Contribute to this conversation
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
grace and
then,
mercy.
And then if you look at grace, the beauty of grace, and how God gives us grace, and then that's the beauty. When you know you don't deserve it, my God, I mean, we know you don't deserve it.
We
know we've done things that, my God, if God were us, He would have just pressed the button and just annihilate us.
Well, yes.
Just asphyxiate us, just kill us on this spot, just press that button. And then we do this on a daily basis. But regardless of it all, God shows us mercy, grace. He gives us grace.
But yet, as I said, many of us that are walking around here don't do that to each other.
We don't do it. We don't manifest it at all to each other. Yeah.
And so we
want it all for us.
Yes.
And for our family, for our loved ones. But then again, I mean, to certain people.
Because
yeah,
whether we like to admit it or not, sometimes being selfish is part of the human experience.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, being selfish is part of the human experience. We want it for ourselves, but we don't necessarily want it for others. Now there are some people. Yes, they want to forgive other people. They want to share what they have. They want to share that grace. They want to share all those things. Then there are some people that want this for themselves and don't feel that anyone else is deserving. You know what I'm saying? And we see that a lot in in our religious institutions. You know what I'm saying? We have the people that are here,
and they hire
everyone else
hierarchy.
is they believe that there's a hierarchy. They believe that I am going to get grace,
and then they get it's like the grace of God trickles down.
Yeah.
So they get the big portion
and whatever's left
of that cake of grace, and then they distribute it to whoever brings the biggest offerings.
Yeah, because we have people, I was going to comment on a video that someone showed me this week, and it was in regards to tithing.
Yeah.
But I was gonna talk about that. That just came to mind when you talked about offering. Some people think that is that is a measure of the
they will win the grace of God by offering. Yeah.
Some people think that determines the level of grace.
Of grace,
but we know that could be nowhere further than the truth. But we're going to talk about. I'm not going to delve into that topic. Because we're going to talk about that in a future discussion, because the video that someone sent me, it was of a young lady who she
won the lotto.
No, not this one.
Oh, not this one.
This is a young lady who actually she paid her tithes and did all those things for the church, and then at a time when she hit rock bottom, she needed something from the church. It took all within her to go to the church to ask them for something. Yeah. To I guess not. Grace probably isn't even the word, but to ask them for something, because she had been a faithful tither, and the church said no.
For some kind of assistance or help or something.
To pay a bill.
Yeah, this is what the church is there for, because all these tithings, all these offerings, I mean, at least.
Talk about it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, because of this, I'll mention it, and anyone that wants to chime in about this and the tithing, this would definitely be interesting. I would love to hear other people's take on this.
Yeah.
Where, we put people tithe into the church, believe they should do so faithfully. Put money into the church, right? And some people believe that this is this justifies the level of grace that you're going to get by the amount that you're willing to give.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The amount that you're willing to sacrifice. But is that true?
Yeah.
Is that true? Because and if you are donating money, or not even donating, you're giving money to the institution or to the church. Now, this young lady, because of that, she the church did not help her. She stopped tithing.
Yeah.
But what she does do is this.
Mm-hmm.
She donates money to other people, other
Yeah.
people that may be in need.
True,
She
true.
is, and let's go back to mercy and grace. She is a blessing
Mm-hmm.
to other people.
Amen.
She's a blessing to other people because she donates the money to other people. So now, let's go to as we talk about people donating money to the. We're not donating. I keep saying donating, but people tithing money
Yeah.
to the churches, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not downing anybody who does do that. That's appropriate. That's what you want to do. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But what
Go ahead.
what does the Bible say about the church? We say we should love each other like Christ loved the church,
Mhm.
right? But remember back during that time, taxes were paid to the churches,
Yeah.
right? And they were and though the synagogues that they were corrupt, right?
Yeah.
He went there, flipped over the tables.
Mhm.
They were taking the money from the people and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, people that were giving money to other folks, people that were in need, that were out there in the streets.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? That helped them and gave. Is that a form of tithing as well? Giving, instead of giving your, say you have your 10%, instead of giving your 10% to this entity, is it not just as useful giving your 10% to someone that's in need? Giving your 10%
Wow.
to this homeless guy that's
Yeah.
out there asking for money
Yeah.
because you know
Yeah.
that this person, or not even giving it to the person that's asking for money,
Yeah.
but going out and buying them food. Or when someone comes to you and asks you for money and you're at the grocery store
Yeah.
and you take this person shopping and get
Yeah.
them the food,
Yeah.
does that count as your 10%?
Well, yeah.
The churches, a lot of churches don't see it as that. And I've been to churches, I have been to churches where on the back of the program
Mhm.
there is a chart
Mm-hmm.
that tells you if you make this much,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you need to tithe this much. You make
Yeah.
this much.
Mhm.
If you tithe off of
They
the
tie you
net,
down.
Yeah,
They got you all down pat.
if you tithe off of the net
Mm-hmm.
from your salary,
Mhm.
then that means that when you get your income tax, you're expected to pay 10% of that.
Yeah.
I've also seen some where when you join the church, they want to see your pay stub.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
They'll
and
do
if
that.
you don't do that,
Mhm.
and I mean, they know how much you should be tithing.
Yeah.
So if, say, the next couple weeks you haven't tithed, what they assume you're at 10%, they pull you to the side and say,
then,
hey.
do you know do you know some institutions, religious institutions, they make the great difference between tithings and offerings?
Yes, there's a difference between tithe. Don't even get me started on that.
Yeah,
the tithe,
they make a difference.
the
between
tithes and the offerings. I mean, I've been in numerous churches.
Yeah.
I've been in churches where
Mhm.
they've stood up and the first lady of the church stood up and said,
Mhm.
"Hey, we ask that if you are going to put money,
Mhm.
you're going to give money
Yeah,
to
put
the church.
the
If you're
tithes
gonna-
in
yeah,
this
if
basket
you're gonna
and
give-
the offering.
If you're going to give us less than $5,
Mhm.
don't take an envelope because it's not
Yeah.
worth the price to print up the envelope for you to give us less than $5. I think that is. I've also been in church where I've been in a church. I'll just say recently,
Mhm.
within the past few years,
Mhm.
pastors got up there and says, "Hey, for the anniversary,
Mhm.
I expect each person in here to give
Mhm.
$300.
Oh yeah.
Don't worry about your rent.
Wow.
Don't worry about your mortgage. Don't worry about your bills.
Mhm.
Pay us the $300. God will take care of the rest."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I've read an article and watched a video last year
Mhm.
where a preacher required like $1,000 from the members, right?
Mhm.
And had an ATM in the back of the church and said, if you don't have it on you, there's an ATM back there.
Mhm.
And what I said that to say this:
Mhm.
these things have become atrocious, but yet we have older generation.
Mm-hmm.
And I say more so our older generations, where they're really heavily bought into
Mm-hmm.
the notion of tithing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
They bought into the notion of tithing to the point where I believe that has been abused.
It's abused.
But the belief is that I don't tithe,
Mm-hmm.
I don't get grace.
Yeah.
I don't get mercy. But then I've also seen some institutions,
Mm-hmm.
religious institutions, where if you don't, if you've gone to, and I've read numerous articles. I'm sure our listeners remember numbers 321-216-6279.
Anyway, let me just read this. Mark 12, verse 41. The widow's offering. Jesus sat down opposite the place where the offerings were put and watched the crowd putting their money into the temple treasury. Okay? Many rich people threw in large amounts of money into that box. But the poor widow came and put in 2 small copper coins worth only a few cents. And then Jesus saw that. And he said, there we go.
Yeah.
A offering is valued than anything else.
Yeah.
Because this came from the heart.
Yes. And that
This came from the heart.
Yes, that is what comes from the heart.
So,
But when we
there we
look
go.
at when we're looking at situations where
So this means, Dr. Larry, people that let people just compel them, twist their arm, putting gun into their ear
peer pressure.
to put offering. I mean, to just, some of these people, they don't even have the money. Can you believe you're asking for someone's rent's money?
Yeah.
You don't pay your rent, my God.
It's gone from being a cheerful giver to
Yeah.
giving till it hurts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And
And God is not even receiving this offering because under pressure.
it's hard to. I've also been in one institution where the church actually bought a
Bentley.
Harley Davidson motorcycle.
Oh,
right?
wow.
And it was from the and it was from the offerings and things like that. And I just think that guys, I love you both. We are required. Yes, we are required to tithe. But now tithe doesn't necessarily have to be in the form of money, though. It can also be in the form of a service, right? But now, tithe is tithe something that is only isolated to the church, or is it tithing? Isn't tithing helping one another?
Way back in the Bible, it used to be that people were bringing the best crops.
Yes.
Yeah, they were bringing either the best goat they have, the best fruits that
Yes.
they harvested.
Yeah.
And then bring that as tithes. So I mean, yeah.
Yes. So now,
Anyways.
it's hard
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to understand you being asked to give your
10%.
money that you're going to need to pay your bills, and especially in times like this when people are really hurting for money. Arguably,
Yeah.
we're in a recession.
Yeah.
Arguably, but the fact that people are hurting for money,
Yeah.
but yet we are seeing, the leaders of these institutions in jets.
Yeah.
In vehicles, living in homes, and the parishioners,
Yeah.
and a lot of these exist in communities where the parishioners, the church members, can't even afford to do things.
And a lot of them, they receive the PPP money by the government too. So they should not really have to do that. At least cut people some slacks. But anyway.
But we do this under the guise of receiving grace and mercy in the future. You know what I'm saying? We make these sacrifices in hopes to receive grace and mercy, and that's what that's what's being fed to people. But again, are we willing to give the same level of grace and mercy that we want to receive? You know what I'm saying? and how do we put a value on that? Now we have people that have, for example, we've all at some point in time have been wronged, or have been done wrong by someone else, right? And some people we've encountered have knowingly placed us in situations that may have in fact changed the trajectory of our lives into a negative impact, right?
Yeah.
Now, we know in all things show gratitude, and all things happen for the good, all things,
work
for the good, and all those things.
Love the Lord.
But we don't necessarily see that at the time, because sometimes there are people who intentionally put us in these situations with the intent of leading to our detriment, and put us into the valley intentionally, right? How do we handle that? How do we handle that? That would and someone says, okay, don't worry about what they are driving or where they live. That's true. We shouldn't worry about what they're driving and where they live, but when we have to work, but we have to think about, how we live, or are we able to live if the expectation is that we sacrifice our, I'm not saying our profit. I'm saying our operational income for our money.
I am not going to worry about where they live or what they drive, but of course I can worry about what I drive and where I live.
Yes.
So if what I got is not even sufficient for where I live and what I drive,
if you're not
I
able
have
to
to
afford,
take that into consideration.
If you're not able to afford
how
your
would
own
I be
expenses,
able to at least go somewhere in a vehicle or even go to church? How would I sustain my family? So it's not that, of course.
No, and I understand what Tawanda's saying. Tawanda's saying, we're looking at it from a different perspective. When you tithe, believe that God is going to make a way for me, and that's true. No ifs, ands, and buts.
We know that for
and
sure.
we know that God's going to make a way, because again, we fall into the grace. We fall into the mercy. We fall into, things will eventually fall into place, right? Now we teach you. Let's get back to what we're talking about with the grace and the mercy, right? Because we're taught. Now remember, grace is
unmerited favor.
Is undeserved favor, right? But yet we're taught in life, you're going to get what you deserve. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get what you deserve. And sometimes we feel the need, not necessarily that it's right, but sometimes we feel the need to influence what I think you deserve. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we'll make something up.
Yes, we'll make something up.
Yeah,
I'm doing this to you because you deserve it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We cast judgment on one another, right? We cast judgment on each other, and sometimes we are merciless in doing that. And we have a society that, again, and no one's answered that question. None of our listeners or our viewers, or whoever, do we in fact live in a merciless society? And if we do, what do we do about it? How do we shift that? How do we change the mindsets? How do we? Yes, we can pray, we open our hearts, all that stuff, and be good to our fellow man. But are we Now, if we know these things that we need to do, why are we not doing them? Why do we still have these situations that are going on in our society? And it's not for those that may be watching that are that are from Haiti that are watching. And I hope we do have some viewers that are from Haiti that are still viewing. The viewers that we had that were watching from Chile, from Canada, from the Philippines. This is not something that just is affecting our country as far as the U.S.
Yeah.
This is something that's global. This is something that's global.
Oh yeah.
Where people are these are attitudes and these discussions affect all of us on a global scale.
True.
And so how do we deal with that? As we sit that right there, we're going to go ahead and take a break. 321-216-6279. Please feel free to call in. Love to hear from you.
This broadcast is brought to you by First Class Insurance.
Larry, we are back.
All right. Well, now we talk. The topic of discussion we were talking about was grace, mercy. We kind of took a little turn there and started talking a little about tithes and things like that, and the church and those things. But now let's shift gears a little bit and let's talk about
Thanksgiving.
This week here in the U.S. We're celebrating Thanksgiving. This is a time, of course, as the name suggests, we give thanks. We give thanks for for a prosperous year, or this is a time when families come together.
Yeah.
But it's also it's also a bittersweet time as well. It's a bittersweet time because unfortunately, some who were with us this time last year are no longer with us, and so we have that place at our table, that space in our hearts that is vacant.
And a lot of people that have died.
Yes, we have lost a lot. We've lost a lot, but yet this is the time that we give thanks for life. We give thanks for for fellowship. We give thanks for our families, our friends. We call if we can't be together with with our family, with our friends and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
it's a great opportunity to at least give them a call.
Yeah.
Somebody you haven't, and let's lean back towards the grace and mercy. Somebody that you haven't spoken to in who knows how long.
Yeah.
Reach out, call them. Call them, talk, hit them on social media or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
or send them a text or something. Say, hey, I'm thinking about you. I just want, and even someone that you deal with on a regular basis, that you may not be fellowshipping with because they're away from you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be away from two of my sons for the holiday,
Mm-hmm.
but I send them and my brother and my sister and my brother up in Connecticut,
Mm-hmm.
and I send them a text message, or I give them a call saying, hey, even though we're not together, I just want you to know that I'm thankful
Yeah.
for you. I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for the value that you've brought to my life,
Mm-hmm.
and I look forward to a time when we'll be together again.
Yeah.
This is the time that maybe we can give thanks to. I give thanks to the viewers. I give thanks to the fact that I'm able to be here, use this platform to maybe talk to some people.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps I can create value to you all, and and give some enlightenment to you all. And I'm grateful that you all would actually give me some of your time here.
Yeah.
That
And we're thankful for
that you allow me into your lives or into your space for this period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could have been anywhere, but yet you chose to allow me in to share this time with you. Thanks for family and friends, and for people who help you. Yes. Thanks for people who help you. And actually, I've had someone tell me that they pray for the people that wish them well, and they also pray for the people who don't wish them well. They pray for their haters.
Yeah.
They pray for their haters. They pray for the people. Pray for the people who don't give you forgiveness. Pray for the people who don't
give you mercy,
who don't give you mercy.
Grace.
The people that don't give you grace.
Yeah.
Pray for people, or at least wish well to people who have influenced you and have impacted you in one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone, to some extent, has some type of value, some type of impact on you, and we want to be gracious of
Mm-hmm.
that. Everyone has some type of purpose, and
Yeah.
we want to be appreciative of that. It's more than just it's more than just sitting around eating till we get full,
Mm-hmm.
or drinking till we get full,
Mm-hmm.
sitting around watching the game. It's more than that. It's about the fellowship. It's about remembrance. It's a lot of us will be home with our family and friends, and we look at relatives. We look at pictures. The people will pull out like the photo albums and look at pictures and times we come together. This, we always say at funerals, why is this the only time we get the chance to come together? Well, now is a time we get a chance to come together, reach out to family and friends, and show gratitude to them all.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to Thanksgiving, I've got so many reasons to be thankful. So many times I think of life and why has God placed me here. It could have been anybody else other than me.
Yes.
And then why, for all the things that I've been through, I'm still alive. Why, despite everything, and COVID is just wreaking havoc.
Yep.
And by the grace of God, I'm still here.
And if you want to call in and tell us what you're grateful for, we would love to hear it. 321-216-6279. Go ahead.
You gotta have something that you're grateful for.
Yes.
We'd like to hear from you.
I'm grateful that I'm here. I never thought that I would be where I am right now. I never thought that I would have the credentials that I have right now. I never thought if you had told me 2 years ago that I would be doing the job that I'm doing, traveling around, talking to different people, hopefully adding value to those individuals.
True.
And I never.
And it's like you're being a blessing.
Yeah,
God is using you in that type of settings right now to this platform to really bless others, and then that's what you're going to different places to do, and then which you like, which you love doing,
and I love doing it. You know, I've over the past 3 weeks I've traveled to some great places, met some remarkable young men and women, and it's definitely been a blessing for me, just as much as I hope that I've been a blessing for them. There's no way, if you had told me as a young kid that I would have a doctorate degree and I would be doing the things that I'm doing now, that I would have made it out of my situation and overcome a lot of the obstacles that I've had. You know, it was. I would not believe it. But this is one of the things, one of the many things that I am thankful for.
Amen.
I'm thankful for that I'm able to, you know, have all that I need, be able to get some of the things that I want, and I'm able to share this with other people. I've been doing this here, actually, believe it or not, it's been about a year now. You know, and it's been about a year, and I mean, I thought I was just going to be a couple months, but this is something that, you know, I've been doing. I see, who's this? Suzanne Brave Marcelin. Yes, thanks for family, friends, and for people who help you. Yes, thanks for people who help you, and I want to say thank you to those of you that are watching. I know there's a lot that you all have to be grateful for as well. And I want to say I'm again, as I've said before, I'm grateful for all of you allowing me into your space for this period of time, and the people that have helped me along the way. What else are you grateful for?
I am grateful for this country, to tell you the truth. First of all, I would say the good people that are in my corner, that God puts in my corner, that I'm able to really get help, assistance from whenever necessary, because you know we all need each other. We need somebody to lean on at times, and so many times, because we were not made to live, you know, by ourselves. And so many times when we get into corners, you know, God just would come up with somebody, an angel from somewhere, anywhere, and then we'll just come around and then help you out. And then I find that at all times, where in difficult moments, situations where unexpectedly somebody will come along and help in my particular dilemma. I thank God for that. And I also got to thank God for this country, the US, because believe it or not, like me and so many of